We recently learned that Kamala Harris was denied armed security detail by federal government. However, the city of Los Angeles, with cooperation from Democrat Governor Gavin Newsom, has decided to give her armed security anyway. Let's talk about it. Isn't it ironic how anti-gun politicians will do everything they can to prevent you from being able to protect yourself and your family with a firearm while making sure that they themselves still have access to whatever guns they want? Not only do they want access to guns, but they also want security detail paid for by the taxpayer, even after the typical length of time allowed by Congress has expired. Kamala Harris's hypocrisy around firearms is pretty obvious. Let's go back just a short time ago and see how much she wanted to disarm you.
Together, when we win in November, we are finally going to pass universal background checks, red flag laws, and an assault weapons ban.
And we're not trying to take anybody's guns away from them, but we do need an assault weapons ban.
But according to Harris herself, she'll have firearms for her own protection.
I have a Glock.
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes, I hear that.
Not only do we see the hypocrisy in this two-time failed presidential candidate, but we also see how the California government, namely Gavin Newsom and LA Mayor Karen Bass, see firearm possession as a way of preserving lives. If Newsom and the other Democrats in California really believed that firearms caused violence, they would disavow them for everyone, including themselves. But they do the exact opposite. They arm up and do everything they can to make sure you are unarmed and defenseless. The irony of all this is that Democrat politicians have conditioned a portion of society to believe that people like Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, and others are entitled to armed security, but they and their fellow citizens should remain unarmed and defenseless because it's just safer that way. The brainwashing runs very deep on this topic, and the gun grabbers work tirelessly every day to maintain this level of confusion among the public. On August 28, 2025, President Trump directed Secret Service to revoke Kamala Harris's security protections. Now, this policy would go into effect on September 1st. The memo read, "You are hereby authorized to discontinue any security-related procedures previously authorized by executive memorandum, beyond those required by law, for the following individual effective September 1st, 2025. Former Vice President Kamala D. Harris." Isn't that what Kamala Harris has always promoted? The disarmament of civilians in public? I mean, she's been known to say things like this.
Assault weapons are designed to kill a lot of human beings quickly and have no place I'm going to get to it.
Yes.
And have no place on the streets of a civil society. We need universal background checks, which, to your point about handguns, is about saying that it is just reasonable to want reasonable gun safety laws.
But it's different for Democrats. They don't really want to get rid of guns because guns benefit them. Of course, they still want to have them themselves. They just don't want you to have them. In 2019, Harris justified gun possession for herself when she said she owns a gun for personal safety because she was a career prosecutor. I guess that explains it. Guns for me, but not for thee. But have no fear. The woman that was going to save America from that evil President Trump will have full security detail. And yes, taxpayers will pay for it. Kamala will receive round-the-clock security by the Los Angeles Police Department and Metro officers, which come at a much higher cost and are considered a more elite unit. After being questioned by the press about the costs and other related issues, neither the mayor or the LAPD responded. LA Mayor Karen Bass did have this to say publicly, though. "I look forward to working with the governor to make sure Vice President Harris is safe in Los Angeles." This armed protection includes multiple officers and just in time for Kamala's book tour, even though recent threat assessments done by the Secret Service found no credible threats to Harris. According to Congress.gov, the Congressional Budget Office report estimated that the cost to protect a former vice president and their family for 6 months is approximately $4 million. But wouldn't you know, Joe Biden broke the rules, as he always has, and extended the usual 6 months of Secret Service protection for a former vice president to 18 months in the very last days of his presidency.
Former vice presidents usually get 6 months Secret Service protection after leaving office. But Harris's had been extended to July of 2026 by President Biden.
This blatant disregard for taxpayer money and irresponsible overspending to protect Biden's friends may be why President Trump put an end to it. The hypocrisy runs deep with left-wing gun grabbers, and if it makes you mad, it probably should. Democrats will not only use your money to defend themselves with firearms, but they'll also use your money to build anti-gun fear campaigns that influence the public to support legislation that restricts your ability to defend yourself and your family. You probably have a neighbor or even a family member who believes that Kamala Harris should have armed security detail well beyond the length of time others are given it. Paid for, of course, with taxpayer money, and you should be completely restricted from owning any type of firearm because, well, just because.
The person is a former vice president. She's entitled to that.
That is the power of propaganda. And yes, you pay for all of it. Even if President Trump stops the flow of funds to corrupt politicians, other corrupt politicians will find a way to get that money again and continue their self-fulfilling political indulgences. Thanks for watching Bullet Points. I'm Dan Wass for Gun Owners Foundation. You can find more Second Amendment content and updates at gunowners.com.